the first question. Dear Lumpur, I have heard a senior Ajahn say that we are living in a degenerating age where more beings are born into the human realm from lower realms, hell realms, animal realms, etc., than higher realms, and bringing with them their consequent dark karma. As a young person, this makes me pessimistic about my future and the future of the planet. What is Lumpur's intuition about the previous statement? And does Lumpur have any tips about coping with an uncertain future?
Yeah, well, the first tip is don't cling to those pessimistic thoughts. They may be a little bit, biased, and that's why we practice mindfulness, to catch the biases of mind and not just cling on to certain views and outlooks that may or may not be correct. Sure, there are plenty of people in the world who are born with their dark karma, but then all of us have some dark karma, and that's why we practice. But there are also people who practice and practice very well and get beyond karma and become arahants, or at least noble ones, or at least good people who practice keeping precepts, meditate and live good lives. There are those people as well. So each of us has a kind of duty, you could say. If you have inspiration to follow the Buddhist teachings, then seek out Kalyana Mitta, teachers, other practitioners. Like, if you live in a monastery like I do, well, occasionally you do see kilesas and not very good behavior, but it's the minority. Most of the time you're living with people who are very well behaved, highly evolved human beings. It's very inspiring. So go and live in a monastery. That would be another tip. Become a monk or a nun. If you can't do that for whatever reason, well, try to associate with people who have sila, who have right view, who practice the good Dhamma, follow the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha. That will help. And develop compassion towards all those people who are still struggling in samsara and making a mess of it. Unfortunately, like you say, we have so much news nowadays that all the mistakes humans are making, we know about them as soon as they make them. All the bad karma they make, we know about it straight away. So it can seem overwhelming, but that's why you have to make the effort to associate with good people in good situations, seek them out. And then in your own mind, associate with the goodness in your own mind. We can't always control the news or the situations we're in externally, but your mind, you have control there. You can choose what you think about, what inputs you give to your mind, what you look at, what you read, what you talk about, what you think about. So if you learn meditation, you're learning to chuck out some of this dark karma. When you notice greed and attachment or selfishness in your own mind, chuck it out. When you notice yourself getting angry, realize this is suffering, chuck it out, let it go. When you're deluded, you're caught into wrong views or all kinds of fears and anxieties and worries, once you realize, chuck it out. That's our job as a practitioner. We have to look after our own minds. So if you practice mindfulness, the Buddha said mindfulness is like a gatekeeper. So sure, we will be bombarded by news about human beings doing horrible things, but you don't have to spend time on that news. You just hear it and then let it go. You can focus on the good things, do your practice, keep your own precepts, learn the Dhamma, do chanting, meditation, practice generosity, kindness in daily life. You have that choice. So it's up to you to make that effort. And we can't just use an excuse, a comment that someone's made, which may actually be true, but whether it's true or not, it doesn't really matter, does it? You've got to practice in this day and age with the way the world is. You've got to live here, you've got to work with this. There's no point sitting there complaining about it or worrying about it. If there are more people who were previously from the hell realms, animal realms, that's just what we've got to work with. And if you meet people who don't keep precepts and are dangerous or threatening or unkind, well, maybe try to avoid them where you can. And seek out those who have good sila, who are good examples. And think of them, bring them into your heart. At the very least, think of the Buddha and his teachings, but then also if there's living practitioners you find or hear of or know, bring them into your heart, remember them, recollect their good qualities, try to emulate them, get inspiration from them, and you can bring your own mind up that way. So really it's on you, isn't it? You've got to do your practice.
Sadhu Lumpur. The next question. Dear Lumpur, I feel helpless watching my very ill mother lying in ICU bed for days, now with the ventilator tube through her mouth. She's been in palliative care stage for the last 6 months. She's aware of her declining health, but she's not told of the underlying cause is her advanced breast cancer, which was treated successfully many years ago. This is because, understandably, she is very fearful of death. I wonder if that's actually right, and it's only harder to tell her now, and she's suffering more. What should I do? Please, can I have your advice?
I don't know your situation, but if you have other family members who are helping and around, have meetings. I imagine you have the meetings already with the doctors, get their advice of the best kind of care and what kind of outcomes you might expect. Talk about it as a family, anyone who's involved. And yes, it sounds like your mother is probably close to death. So that's something personal, private you might do, is just start to really get ready for that fact that it's coming sooner or later. So mentally prepare yourself for the inevitable. We all have to die, I have to die, you have to die, and your mother will have to die. It's not what you want, but it's going to happen. So try to prepare yourself and to prepare her in the best way. So, I don't know your mother, her character, her situation, but if she has any interest or faith in Buddhism, what I always recommend is try to get the person, even if they're lying there in bed, but if they can still hear, maybe play them Dhamma teachings, audio, chanting as well. If they can still talk to them about the Dhamma, try to encourage them to see the good that they've done and focus their mind on the good things. Just as playing the Dhamma will also help that, but also in your conversation. When you're with them, even if they can't speak, you can meditate, you can do chanting next to them, you can meditate next to them in the room, wherever they are, in the ICU. Meditate next to them, do some chanting next to them. Invite other people to come and meditate and chant next to them. Develop a nice atmosphere of compassion, mindfulness, calm, serene energy that will help your mother to calm down, help you to calm down and accept what's happening. The more you can do in these areas, the better it will be, I think. As far as, decisions, difficult decisions that have to be made, well, you're going to have to talk to the doctors, family members, see what's appropriate. But if you're meditating regularly, and others are meditating as well, near your mum, that will help. And talking Dhamma or getting her to listen to Dhamma, that will help. And if you are mentally preparing yourself for this inevitable end of her life, that will help, because then you may be able to make decisions from a place of calm mindfulness, acceptance of the truth. How long she'll live, how things will go, I don't know, because I don't know where you are, what the situation is. But the best preparation is to prepare your own mind in that situation, and then have lots of compassion for her and encourage her to focus on wholesome things like the Buddha, like meditation objects, like remembering the good things she's done in her life. Anything that brings a little bit of joy, that will help give her some relief from the pain, maybe if she's experiencing pain and discomfort. So those are just some general words of encouragement.
Sadhu Lumpur, the next question. Dear Lumpur, may you please explain how to let go, practically speaking, of grasping and clinging when they arise in the mind? Similarly, how to let go of heavy and sticky mind states, fear, anxiety, anger, rumination. Thank you.
Well, that sounds like you're asking for the answer to the whole of the practice in one question. You got to start somewhere. But the two qualities that will really help with dealing with your mind, one, mindfulness, so you can know your mind, turn attention back onto your mind, and then wisdom arising out of investigation, wise reflection. Because then when you're reflecting, observing, and then reflecting what's going on, you'll see things, you'll learn things. And the point is that attachments hurt. They cause us suffering. But you need to see that, and you need to see it really clearly, then you will start letting go. What did the Buddha say? He said, greed is a fire, anger is a fire, delusion is a fire. He compared them to fires. So everyone knows not to put their finger in fire or onto a hot plate or anything like that. You know that because it's so obvious, you've learnt it since you were a kid. Now as an adult you have to learn it in your mind, to see the fire of attachment. How if you cling on, identify strongly, give a lot of importance and energy to negative states of mind, you'll suffer. You have to see that, and you may have to see it over and over again. We're very stubborn, all of us. You understand the theory, but your mind doesn't really let go. So you have to keep doing it until one day you'll have a breakthrough. Till you're tired of the suffering, tired of getting angry, tired of having all these desires that just stir you up, tired of the fear, tired of the anxiety, tired of the being a slave to all these different kinds of negative emotions. You get tired of it and then you want to let go. You get tired of the root cause, this identification with every thought, every feeling, the body. You get tired of it. So then your mind says, oh, it's much nicer to let go. You get tired of being burnt. I once worked in a kitchen, actually a few times. I worked in big commercial kitchens when I was a student. One job was taking the baked foods out of the oven. And anyone who's worked in that situation knows you always have moments where you forget or you're not aware and you burn your fingers. Even when you wear gloves, there'll be times when you burn your skin. You come home and, oh, another scar, another burn. But you get tired of it. I got tired of it and I quit, but that's just talking about a job. But if you keep noticing yourself getting burnt because you are attaching to something that burns you, you'll tire of that and you don't want to keep burning, so then you let go. You have to keep looking at where the suffering is, what you're clinging to, and then say, this is time, it's time to let go. And when you let go, your mind goes still. And it likes the stillness, and that stillness is attractive, and you want more of it. When you're suffering, you're not still, are you? You're upset, your mind is all over the place. When your mind goes still, you feel peaceful in body and mind, you think better, you do things better. So notice the stillness that comes after you've let go, and then that will motivate you to keep doing it. Sometimes you need help. Today, everyone was at the monastery, hundreds of people, they're all putting rice into our bowls, the monks. Today it's warm and windy. When it's warm and windy, the rice on the spoon that they shovel into our bowl gets sticky, dry, very quickly. So everyone picks up rice and they want to drop it into your bowl and they can't because it's stuck to the spoon. And it's a Buddhist tradition, you're not supposed to grab it with your fingers and put it in. It's considered, impolite. So people don't like to do that. So what do? So everyone was working it out quite quickly, smart. They got their spoon of rice, the rice is stuck to the spoon. What to do? Well, their friend or their family member, whoever was next to them, would take their spoon and knock it off into the monk's bowl. Whatever works. So sometimes you rely on Kalyana teachers, friends to help knock the rice off. Whatever works. The aim is to get the sticky rice off the spoon into the bowl, or get whatever it is you're sticking to and suffering with out of your mind. So sometimes it needs a bit of teaching from the Buddha or your friend or a teacher. Sometimes you can do it for yourself. See what works.
Sadhu Lumpur. The next question. Dear Ajahn, the cause we don't get to experience Dhamma because we don't have enough good qualities, especially the quality of equanimity established in the mind. By practicing samatha and vipassana, we mainly develop equanimity so that we get to experience Dhamma. Is this understanding correct? With gratitude in the heart.
Generally that's okay, yeah. Equanimity again comes firstly from the presence of mindfulness. That's really what is central to equanimity. You're mindful. The jetasika, the sort of subtle mental quality that brings you equanimity is called tatra machatata. Keeping your mind in the middle towards that thing. And to do that, to have that quality, you need to be mindful, to be there, present. Then you can keep your mind in the middle towards that thing that may make you angry or make you happy or make you cling into some reaction. You need your mindfulness first. That brings you some equanimity, but then true equanimity will come from insight, not just holding attention, holding the mind there, but then knowing the nature of whatever is involved with as impermanent, as not self, to be let go of, not to be clung to. So mindfulness and wisdom will work together to bring true equanimity. So you just work at it. You start in small drops of mindfulness, but those drops you keep practicing and then they join up to be a continuous stream.
Sadhu Lumpur. The next question. Dear Ajahn, if a person just emerges from the hell, animal or hungry ghost realms, despite being born as a human in this life, he or she needs to put more effort in their practice in the Dhamma and meditation, and bound to have more obstacles in comparison to those in the past life who were human or celestial or from a Brahma realm, because their residual bad karma is possibly still active. Is this statement correct?
Generally, I guess you could say it's sort of correct, but I mean, karma is a very complex thing, law. It's a law, isn't it? It's a niyama. It's not always just kind of simplistic, black and white. Oh, you were in hell before, so you need to practice twice as much as her who was in heaven before you. Everyone's personality, attachments, background, last life, this life, there's a lot of complexity to it. You could have someone who's actually very evolved, right view, faith in the Buddha, has all kinds of good qualities, but they have a particular one weakness that leads them to break a certain precept. They kill, they steal, they cheat on their partner, they do something that maybe and maybe over and over again. So they have this weakness that brings them to a very unpleasant rebirth. But they also have all these good qualities there as well. They're just suppressed by the greed or the anger or the delusion. But when the conditions are right, all these good conditions, mental states can come back up again. They're all ready to come back up. So that person can kind of come back as a human maybe, and things go very well. Or another person could have very few of the good conditions and good mental states, no faith in the Buddha and no concept of morality, and they're just working hard to do lots of bad things. Then they're reborn in hell or something. They come back. It's going to be a long time before they can evolve in a Buddhist sense. And there's lots of people in between. So it's a bit difficult to generalize. I would say the safest way to look at it is we all need to practice a lot. We all are going to have obstacles. Often the more you practice, the more obstacles you face. And you can say, oh, I must have done bad things last life. I must have been a hungry ghost or an animal or a hell realm being. Well, you can say that, but probably you don't know unless you've got Te Wicho, you've got the three knowledges. You can see beings arise and pass away, seeing how their karma affects them. Unless you've got that, you're not going to know, are you? So you're only speculating. But what you can see is your mind from moment to moment today, now. And from moment to moment through your day, you're noticing you have a lot of strong greed, strong anger, strong fear, strong negative qualities that lead you to act in unskillful ways. Be very careful. This is something you've got to work with. You've got to establish your precepts, establish the hiriotapa, the fear of making bad karma. You've got to practice mindfulness. You've got to listen to the Dhamma, improve your understanding of Dhamma, develop right view. Pretty much everyone has to do that, whatever the background. So that's my approach. It's just everyone needs to practice more. Everyone has made bad karma. Everyone's going to have obstacles. We have to learn how to work through things. Of course, if someone is very advanced in their practice, they may have had experience of Brahma realms, celestial realms, they may have samadhi, they may be a noble one. Okay, they're probably okay. You can wish them well, have mudita for them. You don't really need to think too much about them or worry about them. It's us, the ones who are still struggling in the meditation, struggling to keep the precepts, struggling to think straight and use the Dhamma in daily life. We're the ones who need to practice a lot.